class, welcome back to EdVantage. I'm Matt Fisher, your accounting professor. In today's lecture, we're going to be looking at discontinuing a product line or a department, discontinuing something within a business. Now, I've got an example here where we've got two different departments. So I've got the revenues and expenses for two departments and then the total. So take a look at this. What do you see here? Well, hopefully you've gone down to the very bottom and looked at the operating income of $50,000, and in Department 2, the operating income, I didn't put that down, let me put down operating income. And in Department 2, our operating income is a negative $5,000. A lot of times students right off the bat say, ooh, we got to get rid of Department 2 because it's generating a loss for us, an operating loss. And they think, well, if we get rid of this, then we'll have just $50,000 in profit. Because when you look at the two departments together, this is the total, it's showing a $45,000 operating income. So a lot of times students think, oh, if we get rid of this, then we'll have $50,000 of operating income. But that's not true, right? Because remember, we've got fixed costs. Fixed cost might not change between the alternatives. In the first example I'm going to assume that our variable cost will stay variable and our fixed costs are going to stay fixed, meaning they're not going to change. All right, so let's take a look at this now. What's important to note with department number 2, first of all, is that do we have a positive contribution margin? We do have a positive contribution margin. That's very important, all right, because if we get rid of department 2, what's going to happen? Sales will go away, and these costs will go away, so my contribution margin would go away. Okay, that's important to know. What's going to happen with my fixed costs? Are these costs, if I get rid of department number 2, are these fixed costs going to leave? Are they going to disappear? Actually, no, because I said they are fixed. They're going to stay fixed. So what will happen is, if we get rid of department number 2, these fixed costs, boom, they're going to move over and they're going to become fixed costs added to these in department number 1. All right, so let's take a look at this. What happens if we lose department 2? If we lose department 2, get rid of it, then we will have revenue still of $600,000. Our variable costs will be $150,000 and $100,000 still, so those will still be in place. So let me write these down. And so then my contribution margin, well, since we only have department 1, it's still $300,000. But now what happens is, look at here, this $200,000 will now become $350,000 because this department is now gone and those fixed costs are fixed. They're not going away, so we have to add them over here. And these fixed costs, same thing. We need to add them over there. So now we have $350,000 of contribution margin. We subtract out $350,000 and the $175,000. So obviously that gets us a loss now of $175,000. If we eliminate department number 2, this will now be our new operating income or operating loss, $175,000. Now notice, the difference between a positive $45,000 and a negative $175,000 is $220,000. Look what that was. That was our contribution margin because we lost it. We got rid of department number 2. And so if we got rid of department number 2, our profit here is going to go down $220,000, and it did, to a loss of $175,000 because the fixed costs still are in play, meaning they're still being incurred, so they had to move over and became part of our totals there. Okay? Now, let's change the scenario a little bit, and let's say that the fixed costs are avoidable, meaning if we get rid of this department, our fixed costs would go away. That's a possibility. Whenever you're doing homework or test problems, you need to know, are these costs avoidable or not? if these costs are avoidable, meaning we would get rid of them if we got rid of department number 2, then yeah, we'd probably want to get rid of department number 2 because it's generating a loss of $5,000. And if they were avoidable, then they'd be relevant cost information and all of this would disappear, and then we would have an operating income of $50,000. So it just depends whether the fixed costs are avoidable or unavoidable. All right, like I told you at the very beginning, the first example, they were unavoidable, so they would move over into department 1. Okay? Now, one more thing I just want to point out, and it is in your notes. Sometimes when you discontinue a department, what might happen is some of these customers that come into your store and go to both departments, if you get rid of this department, some of those customers that you had over here, they might not want to come to your store anymore because maybe they like this department and maybe they decide, you know what, I'm going to go to a different store that does have that. So you need to be very careful when you eliminate part of your business because you might possibly eliminate some of your customers too. They might leave and go somewhere else. All right. Well, class, I hope this has helped. Once again, go through it a couple times, looking at the 2 examples with the avoidable and unavoidable fixed costs. All right. Hope to see you in the next video. Good luck, class.